What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Keys to Victory. A lot of people are not talking about this damn fight. Yup, that's right. I'm talking about Diego Lopes possibly stepping in if Ilia or Max tends to fall out. I mean, Dana White has made it public, so I am here to break it down. Diego Lopes versus a guy like Max Holloway, and Diego Lopes versus a guy like Ilia Topuria. But this wouldn't be possible without our sponsor. That's right, I'm talking about Stickermule. Guys, you guys want stickers, you guys want pins, you guys want the whole nine? Guys, Stickermule has you guys covered. So you guys make sure to go stickermule.com and get your sticky on. And just so you guys know too, man, you guys can get all my merch. The Stickermule is starting a line with athletes where you can just go directly to there. You can get all your King of Cringe, Triple C. We got the whole nine. So you guys make sure to go stickermule.com and get your sticky on. So here we have it, Diego Lopes, right away, man. 5'11", that's a big kid, man. That's a big kid for the featherweight division. You know, I'll be quite honest with you, because he had lost in the contender. I wasn't too sure how good Diego Lopes was. I'm not sure what happened in that fight. I don't even think I saw the fight, but just the simple fact that he didn't get a contract, I didn't know how good he was realistically. But guess what, guys? He's proven me wrong and so many other people. You know, with the submission victory over Gavin Tucker, this one really surprised me too against Sabatino. And how is it that he was able to really dig in those he is the most dangerous in the beginning of the fight, because he comes in guns blazing. He'll literally go left, right, left, like he's literally fighting that chin. He's not touching up the legs, he's not touching up the body, and this is how he was able to break down a really good wrestler in Pat Sabatino. And obviously that Yusuf. I mean, this guy, if you don't respect, from now on, if you don't respect this guy's power, you're gonna get hurt. Eventually stopped him. And what about Dan Ige? Dan Ige was one of the fights I was like, all right, man, now we'll really get a chance to see how good Diego Lopes really is. And he beat him. He beat him all 3 rounds. There wasn't one round and I love Dan. And I thought Dan would probably, you know, do better in that fight, even though it was like a 6-hour notice. But, you know, credit to my boy Dan, 50K Ige. But the one that really got me, the one I'm just like, you know what? It's this one right here. I thought Brian Ortega was going to bring in the wrestling, just how he did with Yair Rodriguez, but this man didn't let him. He did not let Yair, he did not let Brian get set with any of the takedowns, and he hurt him right away. You know what I'm talking about? Like, he hurt him right away. And if you think this guy, he's a risk taker, and that's one of the gifts that I can honestly say about Diego Lopes, is if you don't take him serious, he may have the baby face. You know, he's got the Justin Bieber, you know, it's a hybrid of Justin Bieber and what do you call it? Mullet. You know, he's got power, and that's one thing that I will say about everybody that trains out in Mexico, is they're all very heavy on the Mexican boxing. But let's get to it, guys. How do you guys see a fight with a guy like Diego Lopes versus Max Holloway? Like I said before, man, a lot of people forget this, and this tends to happen. It's happened with Max Holloway against Khabib when he was going to fight Khabib. He pulled out. This in MMA, it's not boxing. This happens, and Dana White's able to really pick that person and really do it. And they're doing it against Tom Aspinall too, against John Jones and Stipe Miocic. And that's one thing to really consider. But what are the keys to victory against a guy like Max Holloway if he does happen to step in, if Ilia does get hurt? He's gonna have to utilize his clinch and dirty box. You cannot be in punching range with Max, nor in kicking range. You really gotta be close into him, because the closer you are into him, the more that you could literally dirty box. And this guy has heavy hands. He's gonna have to utilize that, start the fight quick, see if he can really catch into Max. Because there's one thing that Max does a lot. He was very hard to hit against a guy like Justin Gaethje. And I talked to Gaethje. I was just with Gaethje a couple of days ago. I was like, dude, he was hard to hit. He's like, but I was like, but there's one thing that he did that people don't realize, and it's probably fundamentally wrong, is Max does this, but he does it just enough where all these punches could evade. And that's where you have to be careful. So he's really gonna have to get in the clinch, really take the chances of really taking that distance. The other thing too for Diego Lopes is he's gonna have to set traps. You know, Max Holloway's coming. You know, you could also play the cat and mouse tentative game, but if this fight does go to the ground or near the cage, this dude's, he's slick. He's slick, man. He's going for broke. He's gonna put himself in a weird position. We're like, what's he doing? Boom, next you know it, there's a knee bar. Next you know it, there's a triangle. Next you know it, there's an arm bar. And that's where you have to be careful with a guy like Diego Lopes. He does a very good job. Even if you do take him down, he is transitioning right away. Knees and uppercuts. He's going to have to use those knees and uppercuts because, again, we have to respect a guy like Max Holloway. You do not want to be in that range. You do not want to be in that range. So a lot of uppercuts down the middle and a lot of knees that he's going to have to really soften up his legs in order to do that. You know, I hope Diego Lopes really spends time there. I know a lot of time that he's had success has been in that really close range, and I know a lot of Brazilians are really heavy in the clinch. And I do believe that's a position where it's underutilized, where you can really make these guys fight a plan B. And then get the fight to the ground. Get the fight to the ground. Could a guy like Max Holloway, could a guy like Diego Lopes, he fights a guy like Max Holloway, could he get it to the ground? If I'm this guy right here, I would purposely go to the ground and find a way to get taken down, to be able to take my chances, to be able to beat a guy like, you know, the Max Holloway. But could he get it to the ground? I haven't really seen takedowns from him. So more likely, if he does hurt him or if he does go to the clinch, I would pull guard. I mean, these are things that I feel that Diego Lopes, he's getting ready right now. He's cutting weight. He's probably in Abu Dhabi already, and this stuff happens all the time, right? But now, how do you guys see it against the Matador? I mean, we can't count this dude out, because I will say something, and notice how the plans change now. Because this guy has more power, every time an opponent has more power, you have to get away. You have to adjust. You have to be the person to fight a different game plan, because you can't go out there. Even though with the majority of the people, because of his hands, he's been knocking people out. But when it comes to this guy, this dude will knock you out cold. He TKOs, he knocks you out senseless. Like, he'll leave you drooling. And that's the difference. So what does that mean? That means he's gonna have to maintain his distance. And whenever it is that he does get close, could he use some of those shots to get into dirty boxing? So even if we take away the clinch, you know, let's call it dirty boxing. Dirty boxing, not dirty dancing. Dirty boxing. Could he do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, this kid's strong. This kid's a veteran, dude. Like, yeah, he has 5 fights in the UFC. Dude, that dude's got more fights, almost double the fights of the majority of the guys that are in the UFC. Right? But the other thing, too, I said before, you have to watch out with a guy like Ilia Topuria, because he has power defensively. You cannot you got to take risks, obviously, but you cannot take stupid risks. This guy is not, he's not all the 5 guys that you've beaten so far. This guy's different. This guy wants to exchange with you. Now, how are you fundamentally, defensively? Are you fundamentally sound in this position? And that's one thing to really consider if you're a guy like Diego Lopes. And I know this sounds a bit crazy, but I always feel like you need to have a couple plans. You know, could he move the game plan if he does get a guy like Ilia Topuria hurt to really press him? You know, looking back at my fight now with Merab, I'm just like, you know what? My game plan should have just been to press him. You know what I'm saying? Because he's gonna want to wrestle. But if he gets you going backwards, like they catch momentum to really just go, rather than you already knowing you have him there. But could a guy like Diego Lopes have a plan B and then press him? Because again, he's fought a lot of people, but now when you find a champ, you have to have a couple of game plans. And typically, that's kind of how we do certain things. We either go for distance, and if that's working, we stay there. But if that's not working, we also have to go for broke. Maybe go into the fight and really take heavier risks than what he would take. And then look for submissions during scrambles. Almost like the same thing. Almost like you want Ilia to take you down. You want him to go in for a takedown, but you want to anticipate similar to what you would do with Holloway, because that's where a guy like Diego Lopes is really good at. That's where he's really good at, just for the simple fact that he transitions very well. Go back and watch his fights. He'll go from, he'll go from omoplata, triangle, knee bars, all like in 1 minute. He's constantly looking for things, and when you have a guy that's constantly searching for things, it confuses the guy. If the guy doesn't have a good ground and pound, like, you're almost like, dude, like, bring it back to your feet. Like, let me take my chances there. So I think, guys, overall, Diego Lopes, is he ready for either Max or Ilia Topuria? 100%. I do. I think in particularly what he was able to do to a guy like Brian Ortega, like, he's 100% right. I wasn't expecting that, but the way and the fashion that he did it, he really did beat him up, and he could have got him. If it was any other guy, he would get him. He would finish him. But Brian Ortega, he's got a set of nuts on him too, and he was able to survive those 3 rounds. But he definitely did put a beating on him. But that being said, I'm thinking about this fight. Like, who would I prefer if I'm a guy like Diego Lopes? Would I want to take my chances if somebody was to pull out? That's a hard one. But stylistically, who would probably benefit him a little bit more? Man, I would say Max Holloway. The only reason why I would say Max Holloway is because this guy's hands are a lot more powerful. When somebody has hands that are a lot more powerful and they catch you, he's going to exchange with you. And this guy's a lot more accurate than a lot of people. Even though this guy starts super clean. So I would have to say, I would go, if there's anybody that was to pull out, I would go with Max Holloway. So those are the keys for a guy like Diego Lopes in order for him to fight either Max Holloway or Ilia Topuria. These are the game plans. He has 2 game plans for a guy like Ilia, and he has 1 game plan for a guy like Max Holloway. And this episode wouldn't be possible. That's right. For our sponsor, that's right. I'm talking about Stickermule. Whether you want your t-shirts, you want your stickers, you want your coasters, they got you covered. So you guys make sure to go stickermule.com and get your damn sticky on. Guys, till next time, Triple C is out.